The story's been told so many times, I don't feel like we need to go through it here. You dealt with it in your book. But basically, you left the Eagles twice. You had the period of tremendous success through, the 70s. Then you left, and you came back, had a long, good second run, and then, to your surprise and shock, you get fired. Without going into excruciating detail, what happened?
I think the first time we broke up, Bernie Ledden, who was my high school buddy, who we had played in bands together for a couple of years and helped get me into the Eagles, he very wisely was concerned about his health. And he said, we should take a month off and just go to Hawaii and get some sun on the beach and stop all this lifestyle. Take a breath and come back at it and kind of pace yourself for, longevity. And no, we've got the steam going right now. We have to power this. We've got this ball going uphill. We've got to keep going. So there was a little disagreement early on about how much we should work and how hard we should work. In light of, and I think Bernie was right in his suggesting that we take more time off from each other, off from the drugs, off from the whole thing. And Don and Glenn really felt that was not the thing to do, and they've made some really great decisions during the course of the whole Eagles career. They are great leaders in knowing what is best for the band to do, without a doubt. So that was one of the reasons Bernie decided to leave the band. And if we had adopted a little bit of his suggestion, I think, along the way, we would have all been, in better health. And the band may still have been together today if we had had more time apart to rest and relax. So that was the first time. The second time we were together, it had changed. Originally, when I joined the band, it was a 5-piece band. Everybody was part of this corporation called Eagles Limited. We all owned Eagles Limited. We shared equally in the gross and the tours and everything like that, the record sales. But when we got back together, Don and Glenn felt that they should get a much larger share. So when they decided they were entitled to more money, I said, okay, but let's just try this and see how this works. And if there's still problems with it, we'll renegotiate. So we agreed to do it for 60 shows and then renegotiate. But when renegotiations came around, there were no renegotiations. It just stood as it was. And so it kind of constantly rubbed on me through the course of that Hell Freezes Over tour. And every couple of years, I'd go back and say, well, aren't we going to renegotiate this as we originally agreed? And the answer was no. So finally, I don't know who sent who a legal notice or whatnot, but it just came down that there was no, and you're fired. So that's the way that happened.
Well, with so much time to reflect on it, it is, after all, quite a long time ago. Do you say to yourself, might have, could have, should have done it a different way?
I don't have any regrets about the way I felt about it at the time. I think that's a mistake to look back and regret your own decisions, A band like U2, they have been high school buddies. They share equally in everything. They go on vacations together. Their families and kids and friends, there's like a camaraderie there. That seemed to have dissolved and gone away between that time when the Eagles first broke up and when the Hell Freezes Over reunion took place. All of that had changed. And probably a lot of it was because of Don Henley's solo career. And Glenn Frey had a good solo career in those years as well, so they felt they were more entitled to a lion's share. But I don't regret my decisions from the time.
You're fired by the Eagles, and you go through a divorce. Had to be, if not the low point of life, one of the low points of life. How did you get through that? What did you learn from that?
Well, I had really the largest amount of success I'd had in my life, career-wise, with the Eagles. I mean, we were soaring. And I'd been married for 29 years during that whole Eagles rise and success and everything. And to have all of that stripped away in literally a couple of months, the loss of my wife, my family, my kids, my identity as a father and as a parent, and then at the same time my success and career of my musical talents being stripped away and just being just me, not part of the Eagles per se, it really kind of took me back to a place where I spent a lot of time every morning meditating. And originally I set out trying to find how I'd gotten from that little dirt road in Florida where I grew up, through all the courses of my life and career to get to that moment. And I looked back to my dad, who had worked really hard as a kid, who went through the Depression. He would lay bricks in the street for 10 cents a day. You could buy a loaf of bread for a time. He would come home with a loaf of bread for his other younger brothers and sisters. He got through it. Now, so that I wasn't out laying bricks, and I had a big war chest of money from being with the Eagles, and you know, I was lucky in that I had lost things that really caused me to redefine who I was. And I think it was a blessing in disguise that all of that happened, because I found what was really an identity unto myself, unto my own. And the strength to battle through that, to me, is what makes people grow and survive. When you're given something really hard in life and you don't just let it kill you. If it doesn't kill you, you can get through it and you'll be stronger for it.
Well, you said during this period when you're down that you were asking yourself, who am I? Who are you?
Yeah, you know, I think underneath it all, I'm a person that's very empathetic, very, I like to give of myself to other people, whether I'm giving of my music to people that makes them happy or giving of my time to be able to help people in charity work. Very grateful for all the blessings I've received. And it's only fair, in my opinion, that if you've been given so much in such abundance, that you share it. You know, and if I can share myself and my talents and my value in the marketplace with other people that could really use it and help it, that's kind of what I do these days.
It's really impressive to look at the number of people who say they were really influenced by the work that you and the Eagles did. Justin Timberlake, pop; Brad Paisley, country music; Kings of Leon and rock. I mean, what a list.
The first time I heard Kings of Leon, I knew right then and there that they were going to be successful. I think I heard them on one of the late night shows, and they had this song that they had written and put out that was just captivating. Like the first time I heard U2, it was the same thing. It's like, these guys are unbelievable. They're just uniquely different, and the quality of their writing and singing and band performance was just great. So it's an honor to have had so many people say that we, as the Eagles, influenced them. I do have to say that I think it was a really magical combination of talents in the Eagles. We had great singers. Everybody could write, sing, and play. And the pool of talent we had to draw from, lyrically, melodically, guitar parts, the way we sounded as a unit put together, was just a really magical combination. And sometimes those things fall together, and sometimes you're in different bands trying to find that, and it never works. So I don't know what led us all to that one moment where we were in the studio together writing and recording these songs, but whatever it was a really beautiful, magical combination.
How can I do an interview with you and not touch on the fact that you co-wrote one of the most legendary rock songs in history, Hotel California? What is it about that song that has made it so successful?
Well, if I knew that formula, I could repeat it. You know, it's like a recipe. Unfortunately, I don't think there is a repeating recipe in that song. I think it's a unique combination of the basic chord progression from the demo that I wrote, which was the kind of the start of that whole song idea. And Don Henley and Glenn Frey, especially Don, wrote some just brilliant lyrics. Don, as a lyricist, writes these little postcard pictures, and he throws you a picture on a dark desert highway. You can see that. Cool wind in my hair, you can feel it. The warm smell of colitas, you can smell it. You know, he's got a brilliant way of writing these little picture postcards lyrically that takes you up to a place where when he sees the chorus, then you're like, it all makes sense, you know. So I think it was a special combination of Don singing, a really beautiful vocal performance, his lyrics, the music that we started off with, the chord progression that I wrote for the song, and the incredible guitar stuff that Joe and I did at the very end of it. All of those elements together in one song. As a matter of fact, when we finished that record, I remember we were in the studio and the record company had been banging on the door, wanting to get that record done and out. They wanted it, wanted it, wanted it. So finally we had a playback party for them, and everything was mixed, and we had a bunch of record executives down. And we played it, and when Hotel California played back, Don turned around and said, that's going to be our next single. And in 1975, AM radio had a specific formula for what it would play. It had to be 3 to 3 minutes and 30 seconds long. From needle drop to the singer singing could not be longer than 30 seconds. It had to be an up-tempo like rock or something, or kind of a wet, mushy ballad. And that was pretty much the formula. If you look at that, Hotel California is 6.5 minutes long. It's almost a minute before Don starts singing. That introduction is long. It stops in the middle. The drums and bass just stop in the middle. Then it's got a 2-minute solo on the very end. It's just the absolute wrong format for AM radio. So when Don said that, I said, Don, I don't think that's the right song to come out of the chute with. You know, it's the wrong format. Maybe FM would be perfect, but not AM. He said, nope, that's going to be our single. And I'm so happy that he didn't listen to my suggestion that we don't put that song out as a single.
Because everybody played it, even though it was 6.5 minutes.
Right. Well, these jockeys loved it because they could put it on and they could go out and smoke a cigarette or go to the bathroom. They had 6.5-minute break to go out and come back into the studio, so they loved it. So I don't know if that was part of the reason it got played so much or not, but it worked out quite well for us all.
Well, the Recording Industry Association of America recently recalculated album sales, and then they said they realized that the Eagles' greatest hits 1971-75 album is the highest selling album of all time. When you were recording these songs that made up the album, did you have any idea that it might scale those heights?
You know, I only played on some of the songs on that first album, and it was an honor to have been part of the songs that wound up on that record as well. But it was something that no one ever expects, those kind of accolades. And I think the ultimate acknowledgement should really go to the songwriting of Don Henley and Glenn Frey for that first Greatest Hits, Volume 1, 71 to 75, because there's so many great songs in that collection that they were responsible for. And so, but the album Hotel California was designated to be the third largest selling album.
That's the way it goes. It goes, the 71, 75 is number 1, Michael Jackson's Thriller is number 2.
Yep.
And then Hotel California.
Yeah, I thought actually in 1999, the RIAA awarded the Eagles the largest selling album of the 20th century. And I was just stunned by that calculation. I don't know where that's ever going to stop. It may or may, fade off into the distance as a lot of people that like those songs pass on. Who knows? But anyway, it is a huge honor.